Hannah Hamilton's Horrid Hullabaloo by Mary Anna Huesler. This series is dedicated to all the wonderful Hewitt girls I was privileged to teach, with a special thanks to Savannah Rosen for her invaluable help. Chapter 15, The Return of Mr. Kitchenmaster. The fire alarm turned out to be nothing serious, which was a relief to Hannah. She couldn't help but remember the horrible fire at St. Hedwig's, which had destroyed so many lives. Someone in the kitchen was microwaving popcorn, which created a great deal of smoke, but the false alarm created an opportunity for Hannah. While the girls were busy vacating the building, hurrying as fast as their tan legs could carry them, Hannah was trying in vain to get into Beatrice's locker. But even ghosts need a combination, and just when Hannah thought all was done, Grace appeared. "Why don't you just walk into the locker?" Grace suggested. "You mean just walk through it?" "I've never done it myself," Grace admitted, "but truly, how hard could it be?" A wave of euphoria flickered through Hannah, and she wondered why she hadn't thought of the idea herself. It was an excellent suggestion, and once the locker was open, she would just slide the stone onto the floor. It was an excellent suggestion, except Hannah couldn't fit. Not the entire way. Half of her was crammed inside the locker and the other half was hanging outside into the hall. It was a terrible idea. Who would ever think that a ghost could become trapped in a small space? Who would ever think a ghost could sweat? And that was just what Hannah was doing. Who would have thought that a ghost could become claustrophobic? What's the worst thing that can happen? Hannah asked herself. She was already dead. But she forgot. She forgot there was a worse thing that could happen. And it did. That grotesque man, the one she had seen at St. Hedwig's, had somehow managed to squeeze his bulky body in the locker with her. His bushy beard crawling with black insects rubbed against her, and the mucus that dripped from his nose landed on her sneakers. He reeked of rotten eggs, and his bulging tongue laced with blood brushed against her face. There was no escaping. She was stuck, frozen, paralyzed, and the man was pushing her towards hell. Hannah fought with all of her might, and then suddenly, just like that, it was over, and she was on the floor with Andrew leaning over her laughing. "Getting stuck in a locker," he jeered. "Never saw that before." Hannah looked down at her sneakers. They didn't seem to be any worse for the wear. That awful man. What awful man? She didn't have the energy to explain, and she doubted that Andrew would be much comfort. She looked around for Grace, who was gone. "We have to help Beatrice. Summer planted that diamond in her locker in order to frame her." It occurred to Hannah then and there, although she didn't say it aloud, that perhaps it was Summer all along who had been conspiring with Marla, and Summer who had sent that terrifying man to her. "And how do you think we can help Beatrice?" Andrew challenged her. "I have no idea," Hannah admitted. "What happened to you?" Grace asked, with what seemed like minutes later as the girls were being dismissed. "I got stuck in the locker, thanks to your suggestion." Grace giggled. "I was just trying to help." "It wasn't funny. I saw that horrible man again. I know he's trying to take me away to some God-forsaken place where I might never return." "The one you saw at St. Hedwig?" "He was there, but—" Before Hannah could finish her sentence, a blood-curdling scream interrupted her. There Summer stood, vacillating between being teary-eyed and furious. She stole my mother's diamond!" Hannah wanted to slap Summer, but could ghosts actually do that? Was this a good time to find out? What's going on here?" Mrs. Applegate asked briskly as she stomped down the hall wearing a beige dress and looking more like a nut. A cashew, to be exact, than ever. "What's all this screaming?" Summer practically threw the pink gem in Mrs. Applegate's startled face. "I saw this in Beatrice's locker. She must have found the diamond in the library and was keeping it hidden until she could sell it." A gaggle of girls had appeared, nodding their heads, tossing their blown-dry hair in unison. Some of them were chewing gum energetically as they stared at Beatrice with curious, critical eyes. Beatrice, who was just strolling down the hall, came to a startled halt. "Beatrice, you better come with me," Mrs. Applegate said in an uncertain tone, clearly flustered, as though she was not used to dealing with thievery. "Summer says that she found her mother's diamond in your locker." "But I didn't put it there, I swear." Tears were rolling down Beatrice's face, fogging up her red, oversized glasses. "Does anyone else have access to your locker?" Mrs. Applegate gave Beatrice a not-so-gentle push in the direction of her office. "She's going to lose her scholarship for sure," Summer gloated. "And she'll hardly be competition for you in the fashion contest." Casey flashed a wince of a smile. "Maybe," she whispered in Sumner's ear. But of course Hannah could hear just fine. "You could even get a hold of some of her drawings." "It's not fair," Hannah said to Grace. "Who said life is fair?" Grace answered. "Or even death." "There must be something I can do," Hannah thought. "I'm a ghost. I have power that they don't." "But what?" She watched as Summer reached for her phone to call her mother with what she thought would be happy news. And that's when Hannah knew exactly what she was going to do.